to my cross stitching channel. Today is Sunday, April 23rd, and I am back for just a quick video. I had a couple people during on my Stitch With Me comment asking about how I got my fabric so tightly in the frame. So I thought I would give a small demonstration about that today. Sorry, I just pulled this out and it's already covered in covered in black dog hair, but it is what it is. So I've got the project that I'm getting ready to work on, that I spun on my wheel. And so I was just gonna show you, since I was getting ready to put it in the frame anyway, figured I would show how I do that. So first off, I don't use anything but Q-snap frames. Generally I use this size, which is an 11 by 11. I do have one 8 by 8 frame that I was using to take my projects to work, just because it was a lot easier to pull it out and work on it when I had like a smaller frame to navigate. So generally I do an 11 by 11. I will sometimes do even bigger for specific reasons, but this is generally my go-to. And so you're aware, I did just run my clamps through the dishwasher, just barely. Well, not just barely. I think I did it last night or this morning. So I ran these through the dishwasher to make sure that they aren't stretched out, because that does happen with Q-snap clamps. If you find that your fabric isn't holding as well, I would definitely try that as one of the first lines of what you do, is running your clamps through the dishwasher on the top rack, and I've had a lot of success getting it to tighten up again by doing that. So just as a disclaimer, I did just put these through the dishwasher. They haven't been on the frame yet. So additionally, this is what works for me. Everybody does it a little bit differently, and that's totally fine. You can just take whatever, if anything, out of this video that is helpful to you and apply it to your own stitching. But this is just how I do it. And then additionally, I also have these pieces of felt. I just use white generally. I really need to replace these. They're looking a bit dirty. And I do use, on my black fabric projects, I use black ones. You can buy sheets, like a 8.5 by 11 size piece of felt at pretty much any craft store. I usually get mine from Walmart just because they're like 25 cents or maybe even a little bit less. And then I just cut them up, I guess the short way. So fold it in half with the short ends instead of the long way, because it covers just the side that's inside, and it works perfectly for the clamp. It's just like exactly the same size. So that's what I use to put my fabric on the frame. So just need the clamps and the felt. I will say that sometimes the felt gets a little bit smushed down, and if I haven't bought a new sheet, so normally I would just buy a new sheet, cut it up and use that. But if I don't have the time or the inclination to do so, I'll actually double up on pieces of felt as well, if it's been smushed down enough that I need to do that. So go ahead and position this over the frame. I stitch with the frame underneath instead of, it's called in the well when you clip it on from the back side. I always do the front side. And some people don't use felt. Some people don't use anything between their clamps and the fabric. And I used to do that until one time, I think it was on my Beloved piece, I was trying to take a clamp off and it stretched a hole out pretty bad. And I'm still not sure if it's going to be okay. I think it's kind of gone back to its original size at this point, but that really freaked me out that I could potentially ruin my project that I had spent so much time on. So I started using something underneath. I have also like folded the fabric over on itself, like excess fabric before. I have done that. And I did try like just pieces of cotton, like those, what are they called? Like quilting squares or something. I can't remember exactly, but just like a small piece of like cotton fabric. And I didn't like the way that worked either. So I just used the felt and that works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and place it. I'm going to put it, probably going to work on I think it's a mountain lion, the mountain lion's face. So I'm going to push it down, down. There we go. Okay, so I always start with the top. That's just personal preference. It doesn't really matter. So I'll take one of these pieces of felt and I will put it across the top here. And I'll make sure to kind of watch where the bars start on the sides and stick it right in the middle. And I will put it down into the fabric about an inch or so. So I'll leave it like that. And I'll take a clamp and then I stay inside the top, or like inside of where the frame rolls over. I try to stay inside of that. So I just position it as close to the middle as I can. Make sure there's still probably about a 1/2 inch past the edge of the clamp, and then just clamp it down. And then I'm going to turn around, do the same thing on the other side. I have noticed that this technique doesn't always work super great with hand-dyed fabric or like really stretchy, kind of loose weave fabrics. It doesn't work as well. I find that Lugana, Aida, those fabrics work a little bit better with this. So I will kind of stretch it a little bit, but I still want to make sure that the felt is farther down. So I'll stretch it a little bit taut here. And then again, put the clamp on the inside and clamp down. And at this point, I am not rotating these yet. I'm just putting the clamps on. So we'll do the same thing with the sides. Again, it's personal preference. A lot of the time, like if I'm up against the edge of a page, I'll do the side that doesn't have the edge on it first, because it tends not to warp it. And obviously, like, it doesn't stay that way once you take the frame off, but I don't like looking at it warped. So if you haven't been able to tell, I'm slightly perfectionist with the way I do my stuff. But so again, on the inside, have it lined up in the middle and then clamp down. And then do the same thing over here. And I apologize for any dog hair you can see. It will be everywhere for all times. It's fine. Okay, and then I really hope you guys have been able to see this okay the whole time. So this is the last one. It's like that. So you can already tell it's fairly tight already, but at this point I take both sides at the same time and rotate them together. And then I do the same thing top and bottom until I feel it's super tight now. So if you can hear it's pretty much as tight as it's going to be. Like I said, putting those clamps through has actually helped make it even a little bit more tight than it would be. And then if I had gotten new felt, this one is fairly old. If I had gotten a new piece of felt, it probably would have helped a little bit more too. But that is how I keep my fabric super tight. I do occasionally, like as you work and you're kind of putting pressure in and, through the fabric, and it does loosen a little bit, and I'll have to readjust it at some point. But the way I've been doing it recently, this is actually, I discovered this, not discovered necessarily, I just tried it a different way and found that it was working a lot better. I just realized that only like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, that if I started with the clamps both in and just turned them, I didn't end up with the clamps rolling so far past the side of the frame, and that it held the tension a lot better. And I am someone who really, really dislikes loose fabric. So I just went with it, and it holds the tension much, much longer than any other way I've done it with the Q-snaps before. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. If you still have any questions about this or any other aspect of how I stitch or how I, my technique with things, I am more than happy to answer those either in the comments, or I could even do another demonstration video. That's totally fine. If you've been watching my channel for a while, or you found any part of it, whether it's my updates or my stitch with me, or hopefully this demonstration, if any of it's been helpful or interesting to you, please consider liking, subscribing, all the YouTube things. That really helps me out. But otherwise, I'm going to leave that there. Again, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you all are having a lovely day. I will catch you next time.